Hello and welcome to today's Spotlight with me, Samantha Addison. For today's programme, we hear from two veterans from the HMS Sheffield, one of the ships sunk during the Falklands War. First of all, I heard Chris Percell's story.
I'm Chris Percell, ex-HMS Sheffield, 1982. I was an able seaman, 22 years old. When we first got wind of... We'd actually been away from home for 6 months on Persian Gulf Patrol, and our last port of call was Gibraltar. We were supposed to sail for Gibraltar on the Monday, which we did. And then around midday time, the captain came over main broadcast and said something had happened in the Falkland Islands. And a lot of people throughout the ship, you know, the Argies that had invaded the Falklands, why the blaming heck did he want to invade Scotland, like, you know? Anyhow, again, talk amongst the lads, well, they won't send us down there because we've been away for 6 months, like. However, a lot of helicopter activity, we started getting ammunition from other ships. And we were the first ones down to the Ascension Islands, on which we started rubbing down the ship. And Argentina had two ships exactly the same as the Sheffield, with the ears on the funnel. So we had to paint a black line from the funnel down to the waterline, about 7 foot wide. And then we waited for the rest of the task force. And then we came down patrolling the Falklands. We never actually seen the islands. And on the morning of May the 4th, we'd finished on watch at 8 o'clock, went and got a bit of breakfast, got our heads down, had showers and everything. And then 12 o'clock we were back on watch. It was cold, the sea was a bit choppy. And then about 1:30, one of the lads asked me, because I knew all the chefs, he asked me if I could go and make an urn of tea. And so I went down. The galley had just finished lunch, so there was no hot water. So I put a big urn of copper of water on and waited for that to boil. I was down there about 20 minutes talking to the chefs. Number one laundryman was in there getting his scran ready. And then about 10 to 2, the water still hadn't boiled. So I was feeling guilty of me being in the warm and the lads still upstairs, up top on the GDP gun production platform, getting cold. So I said to one of the chefs, just give us a shout up top when the water's boiled. So he said, yeah, no problem. So I went back up top, said to the lads, the water will be ready shortly, like. I'll go back down and make the tea when it's boiled. So then I was on the starboard bridge wing, which is the right-hand side of the ship, and the pilot was the helicopter pilot. And approximately 2 o'clock, we just glanced slightly to the right and seen a fireball coming towards us. And the first words the pilot said was Exocet. And then we got told to take cover. I hid under an ammunition box. And then we just heard a thud, no explosion. But then we knew, obviously, we'd been hit. 2 missiles were fired at us, one fell short, and the starboard one hit, causing a 7 foot, 13 foot hole in the side of the ship. And it hit where we'd painted a black line, it was like an aiming mark. Anyhow, a little bit of confusion, and we had no fireman. The fireman was taken out by the missile. And we went to emergency stations. They were asking for volunteers to go back up top and try and fight the fire. Me and my mate went back, but it was to no avail, like, you know. And literally, there was lads with buckets on the end of a rope, putting it in the water. 2 ships came alongside us. The Yarmouth came down our starboard side, and the Arrow on our port side. And they had the hoses going, trying to, what they call boundary cool, but they helped us a lot. I don't know, 4 or 5 hours later, it was too much. And the captain, Sam Salt, abandoned ship, or give the order to abandon ship, to which we started jumping onto the ships. I went onto the Arrow. We had a night on the Arrow, but there was an air raid warning. But we had to stay in the mess deck, which was quite frightening because, you know, you don't know if something's gonna happen, you can't see it. Then the day after that, we flew on to the Fort Austin. Spent about 10 days on there. We got emergency clothing given to us. Then we flew on to the British Esk, which was billeted for about 37 people. But it had all the Sheffield survivors, it had a couple of Harrier pilots who had been injured. and that was taking us further north, so we never actually seen the islands. And for me, this is the first time I've ever been down here in 30 years, and it's just been an amazing place. I mean, over the last 30 years at home, I've cried, I've nightmares, flashbacks, survivor's guilt. So it's pretty emotional. I didn't know what emotions I was going to... But we've managed to meet some fantastic people. And the only time I've wanted to cry down here is when people have come up, shook my hand and said, thank you for what you did in 82. Very humbling experience. And I say we've met some amazing people. The country is brilliant. And it needs to stay British.
Has it helped you coming back here?
I think so, yes. It's I've buried some ghosts. I've gone and seen the memorial. I've said goodbye to the lads, and I think I could go back with... I won't go back with anything negative. I'll go back to England with positive thoughts. I said the other day that I've seen the islands now. I've said my goodbyes. There's no need for me to return, but I will come back, because then I can come back and just take in all these views and beautiful place.